About a year ago on this show, we had our next guest on to learn about her journey in the sport of breaking. And a lot has happened in that 12 months, including a little thing of qualifying for the Olympics, creating history as Australia's first ever female breaker who will be representing Australia at the Paris Olympics in just a couple of months' time. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the show Dr. Rachael Gunn. There we go. I got it all out in one go. I did it. Rachael, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Ben. It's great to be back.
It's a pleasure, and B-Boy Worthy at your service right now.
That's
right, I've got that
Worthy.
name. Yes, I had to use that somewhere in the beginning of this. But yeah, you're going to the Olympics, Rachael. How does it feel? Have you gotten used to people saying that to you yet?
No, I have not. It's been a few months since I qualified and I'm still not used to it. It still feels like a dream. I still pinch myself frequently because it's totally unreal, but seriously awesome.
Is it one of those things that you consider yourself an Olympian yet? Has it like hit you on that level, or do you feel it's sort of once you get to Paris? I mean, kind of how is that digesting with you right now, the word Olympian?
It's a process. It's a process. Look, some days I'm aware of it and I'm like, yeah, this is a thing. And other days, like today, I'm like, no, what? That's maybe something that will come later. Maybe when I land in Paris and I'm there amongst the excitement. Maybe when I step out on that stage, it'll all feel real. But don't worry, look. Already.
Cat's jumping in the background. There you go. Yep, that's what we want.
Maybe it'll feel real then. But look, I'm working hard. I'm training hard. So, I'm still prepping, even though it still doesn't feel real.
Because it's been very interesting, I think, since we had you on the show. Because obviously you get that official qualification in October, which we'll touch on. But you still are doing things that are almost promoting you as an Olympian before you're officially confirmed. I'm thinking of the year to go to Paris celebration that they had in Sydney. You're there in the Australian uniform with the rings on you. You're being interviewed. You're talking to Anna Mears. Like, you're doing all these things. And at that point, of course, you're officially not going to the Olympics. So, I mean, how was that kind of period where people are basically saying you're an Olympian, you're going to make it, but you actually hadn't officially yet made it to the Olympics?
Yeah, that was a really strange time because I think at that point in time, it wasn't even confirmed that we had an Oceania qualifier. So, sorry, Kat is being very naughty. And
I really am appreciative of the cat distractions. This is like, for our video people right now, this is why you watch the video episodes and not just the audio episodes, because we get cat distractions.
She's being very naughty. That was a very strange time because it wasn't even, confirmed that we'd get an Oceania qualifier. It wasn't even confirmed that we'd get that regional spot. So, it was a really strange time. And then, of course, the qualifier was confirmed. It was in October, months after the 1 year to go event.
Yeah.
I won that event, and then still it was a few months before I confirmed. So it's been a really interesting kind of journey of layers of building this realness. And now that I have been confirmed, it's still not real. So
you'll see the Eiffel Tower and go, all right, Olympics. That's what I'm here for. What are those rings? Oh, the Olympics. Okay.
That's what we're doing here.
That's why we're doing this. Okay, I understand it. Which, does it add... Did you feel like extra pressure then when it came to those Oceanic Championships because of that? Because, I mean, you're such a huge advocate for the sport. We talked about that last time when you're on the show. You've obviously done a PhD in it, everything that you've done with it, that it all came down to that moment to really, I guess, confirm you as an Olympian at that point.
Yeah, look, there was pressure, definitely. Like, I was pretty visible already in the media. I think even since breaking was first confirmed as an Olympic sport back in 2020, I was doing a lot of media interviews. So I've always kind of been front and center. And there was that pressure of, I've been number one ranked B-girl this whole time. I've been representing Australia at these various events, but am I going to be number one when it counts at this one event where it absolutely counts? So there was totally that pressure there. And I did feel that. And it was a grueling event, both physically and psychologically. But, I got the result that I wanted. So, whew.
I was going to say, was it a sort of a relief of pressure afterwards? A sigh, like, do you take a moment to just kind of go, okay, there you go, it's done now, and now the next part of the business is the Olympic Games?
Yeah, look, it kind of took me a while to get over it. I think because it was such a massive build-up. It was the biggest event that I'd ever competed in terms of those stakes. So it was a massive build-up, and then it was a massive kind of crash after it. And it took me a little while to recover from that, both physically and psychologically, just because of that build-up. But I did get there in the end and was just super pumped to get into training. And it's been really nice having that time as well before the games. Like, I've had months and months, I think it was like 9 months or something in total before the games. So it's been nice to take a step back and to build some things. Last year I was competing all year round. Like, I was traveling lots, I was competing lots. And so I didn't have much time to incorporate new moves and build new combos, but I've had that time now, and that's been really nice. Like, I only entered my first comp this year, last weekend,
Wow.
the beginning of April. So I've had a number of months just to focus on building my combos, building my skills, building my strength and conditioning that I wouldn't have if I'm just constantly competing. So it's definitely been an advantage in that sense.
And does that then come to that point now? We're obviously recording this at the beginning of April. So with getting into that competition spec, is it also a level of momentum that there are more competitions that you can enter between now and the Olympics?
Yeah, absolutely. I am kind of going into the start of that competition mindset. So I've been building all these sets and combos, and now I'm going to be starting to put them in, trialing them out at competitions, starting with very low stakes competitions before I head overseas at the end of May for a competition in Italy, and then in the UK at the start of June. And then I come back. Some more fine tuning. I've got another national comp at the start of July, and then I'll be off to Paris mid-July. So,
Wow.
It's kind of all laid out to build and to fine tune and to refine and to test over the next few months.
Because I know when we had you on and you were sort of telling us the intricacies of the sport, the art form, that, it's always fine tuning everything that you're talking about there. And do you kind of go into that with that lead, knowing that you've qualified so far out from the Olympics, to just visualize what you can perform at the Olympics? Or do these things come to you as you're prepping, like what you're doing now, when you go to a competition that all of a sudden, okay, this is something I will try during the Olympics?
Look, no, I am prepping for these competitions, and I am so the competition on the weekend, I was like, I want to try, X, Y, and Z combos or moves because I haven't tried them much in battles. And it's always different doing a move under pressure in the heat of the moment when your opponent's staring at you, the crowd's there, the DJ's playing music you've never heard. So it's always good to kind of test these new moves and combos, but you don't really create a start to finish set in breaking just because it's too hard to make it fit what's happening in the moment. You want to be able to respond to your opponent, respond to the music, and that sort of thing. So yeah, the last couple of months I've been trying different things. I've been, some have been more successful than others. And there's always a point where you go, okay, yep, we're making good progress on this. We'll keep working on this for Paris because I think based on this progress, it looks like it'll be ready to go. And there are other moves that are like, we're just going to put that one on the back burner. That's a 2025 combo that we can look at. So, yeah, you do have to prioritize and constantly be reflecting and evaluating on how you're going.
With that, when it comes to your competitors, because obviously a handful of other athletes have qualified as well, we'll see more qualifying through a variety of other events as well. Are you constantly keeping an eye on those? I mean, I can imagine these are competitors you're up against anyway in international events, but is there kind of always that back of the mind going like, Sunny, she's great. I can beat her though. She's easy fodder, and you're just sort of looking at these people and I guess getting that mindset too when it comes to competing against them at the Olympics.
Yeah, look, I am very familiar with the other B girls that have qualified. I've seen them compete a lot. I'm familiar with what their strengths are and typically what their approach is in battling. At this point in time, I'm just kind of focusing on what I need to work on, my weaknesses. And as I get closer to, maybe I'll look more at what they're doing. But as I said, I'm already kind of familiar with what their approach is going to be. My strengths are my style and my creativity. My weaknesses have been my dynamics, which I've been working on all this year. But dynamics is what most of their strengths are for the girls that have qualified. So even though it's important for me to kind of bring some more dynamics, I'm not going to just win on dynamics alone. They're going to beat me at dynamics. But if I include that within my performance of style, creativity, technicality, then that could, as a package, could beat their dynamics. So, it's kind of you're thinking about what they're doing, but you're also staying focused on what you need to do and what your strengths are and what you need to work on.
I really think that you and all the other B girls and B boys are in the most unique period for any athletes at the Olympics, because it is a case of you're preparing to go to an Olympic Games, but you're also advocating for this sport. So many people are asking questions. I mean, even using the word sport, as we discussed when we had you on, sort of has its own connotations when it comes to breaking. I mean, how do you feel kind of being the gatekeepers for breaking? You're groundbreakers, you're history makers, all of you competing at the Olympics, particularly as we'll touch on, that this is a sport that is not going to be at the next Olympics. Like, I mean, it's kind of just this unique world that every breaker is living in right now in the lead up to the Olympic Games.
Yeah, and look, and it has been a really wild ride. I mean, our national sporting organization, Oz Breaking, was only established in 2019, 2020. It has been a huge effort to try and develop these, systems, these modes of governance, the board, the pathways, to show how athletes are progressing, to try and develop relationships with other existing institutions like New South Wales Institute of Sport. And it's been this huge lot of work. And it really only feels like this year we finally are like, have made those connections. We're getting somewhere with everyone. People are starting to understand breaking a bit more. It's not just a joke to the majority of the population, maybe only like a third. So, we're making progress.
That's progress. That's absolute progress.
So, and then for it to not to be in LA, it just like, it's like all this effort that we've put in to set up for the next generation, because that's what we do in breaking. We're constantly thinking about the next generation. I don't want to be the only Australian woman to represent in breaking at the Olympics. I want there to be lots more to follow me. But, the reality is this could be the only chance that breaking is in the Olympics. So it is really kind of shutting down some of the opportunities that we're also setting up. Even some potential sponsors are less interested now because they're like, well, it's not in LA, and these are athletes that don't have, we don't have existing funding pathways. We don't have sponsors. We don't have sponsors. Oz Breaking, and myself and Jeff, we're really struggling to get sponsors. So it's quite disappointing in that sense that it's not in LA, given all the work that we've done leading up to now.
How much of a shock was that? Because you and I were talking a bit off air about it, and you would think of all places that breaking would be on the program, it would be in the US. And is there any hope or prospect or a campaign that this could be a push to the IOC to say, hey guys, you've made a mistake? I mean, this should be on the calendar still for 2028.
Yeah, I know. I really think it should. And it did surprise me that LA said no. The US is the birthplace of breaking, of hip hop, of many street dance styles. Of course, breaking was from New York, but breaking featured in, I think it was the closing ceremony of the LA 1984 Olympic Games. So there is that history there. It would have been really nice for it to come back full circle as an event. So yeah, it did really surprise me because of that connection. And also because, the scene in the US is really strong. It could be an American b-boy that takes out gold this year, So I am really surprised. But my understanding is that the IOC supports breaking in the Olympics, but it wasn't something that LA program wanted. So,
which, I mean, because you got to imagine that. I mean, obviously they've got to make these decisions because they've got a certain amount of time. They've got to prep for the sports to be included, but they're going to see it in Paris. So they're going to see what this is going to bring. And I know we talked about, I think every break we've had in this show, I can't imagine people are going to watch this in a couple of months' time and not be blown away. No matter, even that third that we're talking about that are still making fun of it. Like it's going to be one of these things you kind of need to see it to really understand it. And I feel that's when maybe the LA organisers are going to go, shit, we done fucked up on this.
Right? I know. I don't know why the decision had to be made before they could see how the sports went in the games. I mean, it's not about the money, but it is about the money. And I think breaking is absolutely going to go off. And I've never met anyone that has seen breaking and gone, oh, wasn't that impressive? Wasn't that cool? Once you see it, you're totally blown away. And it is so amazing and so exciting to watch. And I think it is going to be really attract a lot of audiences. But I guess they had a kind of different vision in mind for LA 28. But hey, Brisbane 2032.
I was going to say.
I've got another 8 years to work on that last 30%.
A nice gold medal around the neck wouldn't probably, be an issue when it comes to swaying that. I mean, if they can find some venues in 8 years, I'm sure that maybe we'll can talk there. But is that, I mean, again, if LA can't be swayed, if that's going to be a missing out thing, that yourself, every other B-girl, every other B-boy, then that becomes a real advocacy to try and push towards Brisbane. Because, I mean, as we've seen, like, I use softball and baseball as an example, the yo-yo of Olympic sports. It's there one year, it's there, it's not. It's back and forth, back and forth. Like, we've seen sports return. So I guess that even if it's not in LA, it's not the end of it.
Yeah. I hope so. And look, the AOC have been really supportive for breaking and as I said, anyone that sees it is supportive. Queensland has a really promising scene as well. I mean, that's where J Attack trains in Queensland, even though he's from northern New South Wales. So there's a lot of potential in Queensland, for medals in another 8 years. So I really hope that, there does gain some momentum there.
I want to talk about Jeff in a moment, but I need to bring up just quickly, you've also got Anna Mears on your side. We spoke to Anna briefly at that 1 year to go, and she was just in love with breaking. So, I mean, get Anna on board. She's going to be sort of in charge of things when it comes to Paris. So, I mean, when you've got someone that high profile on your side, I can't imagine that's a bad thing.
Anna is awesome. Yeah, so much respect for her. I'm so glad that she's supportive of breaking and of me and Jeff. So, yeah.
It's exciting times. And Jeff, we had Jeff on a couple months back and just loved hearing his story and everything. And kind of he talked about his admiration for you and everything that you've done for the sport. But, I mean, somebody like yourself who has obviously been in the sport for a while and really advocated for it, what's it like to see someone like Jeff who's so young and kind of so fresh? And I mean, what are your hopes for him come Paris?
I'm so excited for this opportunity for Jeff. I mean, this, like, what a dream. What a dream for both of us. But, he still hasn't even entered his prime. Do you know what I mean? For breaking, like, he's still so young, and to get this experience so young, to get access to this support so young, is just going to set him off on an amazing breaking career. He's already building his name overseas. Regardless of what happens this year, I think he's going to do really great things. So yeah, it's amazing to see someone so young be able to experience this.
Do you both set targets when it comes to what you want to achieve at the Olympics? I mean, obviously you'd love to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to win gold medals. Of course, you're competitors. That's what you ultimately want to strive towards. But is it a case of saying that, or like do you just kind of go into it and just see what the prospects and just do what you can do?
Yeah, look, I can't speak for Jeff, but for me, I'm going to do my absolute best. I am going to, that's my goal, to do my absolute best in all my prep leading up to it and in the moment in every step of the battles. So it would be nice if that led to a medal, but sometimes, these things are out of your control and you can only do your very best. So,
well, as I mentioned to Jeff, just to add some statistics to you, Rachel, Australia has a very good track record this millennium of debut sports and medaling in. So I'm going back to Sydney. Triathlon, taekwondo, both made their debuts. We medalled in both of them, all right? Surfing, we medalled in Tokyo. Skateboarding, we medalled in Tokyo. BMX, we medalled in Tokyo. I'm just saying, rugby sevens, golf, we didn't medal in golf, but we did in rugby in Rio. So debut sports and Australia have a good track record this millennium. Just saying, you and Jeff, that bodes well for medals for both of you.
Okay. All right, good. We've got that on our side. Excellent. Yeah. I'll keep that in mind going
You're welcome.
Into
You're welcome.
A little bit of extra Aussie debut sport charm luck.
Exactly. And I didn't mean to shit on our golfers. Fourth, I believe we did get in Rio off the top of my head. So we were close. So, we were just off the podium, which we like on this show, of course, because that's what we're called. But I mean, the competition itself in Paris, if I'm not mistaken, is basically at the very back end. So I think it's the third last and second last day, is it not, of the Olympics.
That's
when
right.
it comes to that, like, do you feel that's a good or a bad thing? Because, I mean, you obviously kind of, I guess, want to enjoy what an Olympics is. You kind of want to soak in the atmosphere, maybe get along to some other events, things like that. But at the same time, you've obviously got an eye on competing. So, I mean, how do you find that you've got to wait that long before you can actually get out on the mat and compete?
I know. Look, it's my first time, so I'll let you know. I am getting there quite early as well because I do pretty terrible with jet lag and also drastic changes in climate. So, I mean, I'm going to get both in going from Sydney to Paris. So I am going to have lots of time before my event. I think 3 weeks or something before my event. So I feel like I'm going to get acclimatized to the energy and the environment and the time and everything like that. So I feel like by the time it's my event, I would have calmed down. I would have, settled into this environment and be able to do my best. That's the goal. I hope it's not just like the craziness build up over 3 weeks of excitement and nerves.
Too many croissants, too much escargot.
I know it's going to be so hard to not just whenever I go to Paris, it's just croissants all meals. So it's going to be very hard to still eat focus. But I will, Australia. I will.
Good. All right. That's what we want to hear. And then closing ceremony day, once it's over and you can finally say, I'm done, you're just going to hit the Athletes Village food hall and just go to town. Go
to town on those pastries. Yes, I will be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which I guess the positive of it, though, is that, I mean, closing ceremony, you're there, like it's a day beforehand, right? So like, I mean, that's in a state, not to take away from the amazing opening ceremony that we're obviously going to get down the river, but like,
I'll be there for the opening ceremony as well.
You're gonna march? You're gonna do it?
I'm gonna be on the boat.
Yes.
And be there. I'm getting my money's worth for this Olympics experience. I'm going to be there for both.
Good. All right. I like that because it's sort of, obviously there's like the whole staggered nature of the village, but of course athletes can still sort of go beforehand, which I guess, I mean, it would help on that acclimatization though, obviously, to kind of get yourself in the zone. Because I can imagine that mentally that's going to help prepare you very well for your competition.
That's what I hope. That's the plan. I'll let you know how that goes.
So this is the third interview questions that I need to ask you in like August, basically. So remember those questions you asked me like in April, Ben? I can answer them now.
I can answer that now.
Yes.
I said I thought this would be a good plan. Well,
maybe not. Maybe not when it comes to that. One thing that I found really interesting in the last week that I saw you advocating for, Rachel, is the fact that breaking is actually banned in schools in New South Wales. Now, before I get into that, blows my mind, but you posted this on social media alongside other such things as rock fishing, bungee jumping, which, okay, I could probably understand that one, rodeo. I don't know how much of a demand there is for school kids doing that, but sure. Hang gliding, quad biking, and boxing. Two of those Olympic sports, if you don't mind.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
How? I don't even know where to begin with the question of this. Why is it banned, Rachel? There's the obvious question. Why is breaking banned in New South Wales schools?
Look, it's been banned for a long time, actually. Since 1999, they banned it because they thought things like head spins and, you know, kind of some of the moves in breaking was going to be damaging to the spine. I don't know how evidence-based that was. I don't know if they compared much of the evidence across rates of injuries in sports before they ban or they very much endorse some sports. But yeah, it's been in for a long time, and it's still in place, which is wild because New South Wales, particularly Sydney, has a very strong breaking scene. You know, so I'm from Sydney. The other three B girls that qualified for the OQS at the Oceania event, Molly is from Wollongong, Hannah and G Clef are from Sydney. The boys, Jay Attack, who won, is from Northern New South Wales. Second, Benamex from Queensland. Third, Kid Tech and Mighty Duck are from New South Wales.
Wow.
So that's 7 out of the 8 top spots at the Oceania qualifiers are from New South Wales. And yet I think we're the only state that bans it in schools.
It's crazy. Wow. And was this something that is widely known in the breaking community? Is this one of those ones that kind of slips through the cracks when you get those memes or it's random laws that are still in place, in certain states? Is this just one of these things where all of a sudden someone went, hey, by the way, breaking still banned in New South Wales schools?
Yeah, look, yes and no. I think it depends what kind of work you're doing and if you're involved in teaching kids. I know that some people in the breaking community who have studios and who are really involved in trying to build the next generation of breakers are very much aware of it because they find it hard to reach more kids. They can only access the kids that can afford a dance studio after school. Whereas I think breaking would have huge benefits in a school program, particularly in more disadvantaged or vulnerable areas of Greater Sydney. There's been a long history of breaking out in Western Sydney. And I think it would be fantastic to have it in schools there because it just gives you the tools to, 1, stay fit, 2, build a community, and 3, express yourself, however that might be. So I think, so it's something that I'm advocating, absolutely. But to be honest, I think also New South Wales has a little bit of a moral panic just generally about hip hop culture. So I think there's a few things going on there. I think New South Wales tends to forget or believe that hip hop culture is a negative, violent, criminal activity, whereas actually hip hop culture is this really positive community building force. Obviously there's always kinds of extremes and different kinds of people in cultures, but by and large, hip hop is a positive community building culture. Because
I would assume that, I guess, the hotbed of hip hop culture in this country is Western Sydney, right? So it's kind of,
oh yeah, absolutely.
That's where a lot of it comes from. Which, I mean, how do you advocate? Is it a case of meeting with government officials? Hi, I'm Rachael Gunn, Olympian in breaking. This is why it's wrong. I mean, do you sit down with Mr. Minns and go, hey, g'day, Mr. Premier, how you doing? This is what you need to do. I mean, how do you advocate? How do you get it to change?
Yeah, look, I hope so. I did take it upon myself. I was invited to an event at New South Wales Parliament House, and I did meet a few politicians, and I was like, hey, did you know?
Wow.
And they were like, what?
Straight into it. I like that.
Yeah, I did. I used the opportunity because, it's not really circles I often travel in, and you've got to make the most of these
Rachel. Gold medals change that, just saying.
So, and look, I talked to the AOC about it as well, and they were really surprised. And I think particularly because it's an Olympic sport now,
Mm.
it really should be reconsidered, or at least maybe look at some evidence. I can tell I've been breaking for 12 years, never had anything more than a niggle or maybe taken a week or two off, never hurt myself seriously. But, that's one person. But I'd say probably the most common injury, anecdotally, is probably tearing the ACL. But what sport isn't?
Exactly. It's the trend now. Everybody's doing it basically.
Everyone's tearing it. It's so hot right now.
Exactly. And I guarantee you, come July and August, all the kids watching the Olympics, what's the one sport they're going to go in on a Monday morning and be like, Jenny, Jack, let's see what we can do? Breaking. They're not doing dressage. They're not doing golf. They're doing breaking.
Exactly. And at least if you're worried about safety, then at least then teach them how to do these moves properly. Don't let it. There are plenty of tutorials on the internet. The kids are going to be doing it. There's all these tutorials all over Instagram, all over YouTube. But if you're worried about their safety, get a breaker in to teach them how to do these moves, how to build up the strength, how to fall out of a headstand. These are really important things so that you don't injure yourself, and you don't.
Yeah. Which, because it is that one that basically it is crying out for people to try. I mean, I've seen a lot of the interviews you've done. You're on Sunrise, you've got Sherva, you've got all these people out there. It is kind of that sport that everybody looks at and goes like, I want to have a go. And we have the Have a Go Day, which I'm guarantee you it's going to be everybody doing breaking. So the fact that you're going to have teachers at all New South Wales schools going, nope, detention. Like, I mean, like it doesn't seem right.
Mass detention across New South Wales.
I think we just need to tell all the kids in schools in New South Wales to do it, and then that way, like, you can't give every kid a detention, can you?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
People power.
People power.
Everybody on like the day after the closing ceremony, just break. Just get out into your school and just go and break.
Yeah.
Okay?
Love it.
People power. That's how it works. I realized we talked about this sort of off air. I realized that we didn't actually do our get to know you style questionnaire with you, Rachel, when we had you on about a year ago. So I need to do that in just a moment. But two things I want to touch on. Obviously, you and Jeff are on the plane to Paris, and you touched on some of the other Aussies who are still in with a shot. We've still got the Olympic qualifying series to go between now and the Olympics. What are our prospects? Are you confident that we could have another couple of Aussies on that plane to Paris to join you and Jeff?
Look, it is really tough. The OQS is pretty stacked. Like there are some amazing competitors out there. And in all honesty, the rest of the Aussies haven't got the support that me and Jeff have got. I was only able to get a scholarship at the New South Wales Institute of Sport in December, or from this year, which meant I only started getting strength and conditioning support from February.
So can I just jump in there? This is after you've qualified for the Olympics, you then get the scholarship. That's insane.
Yeah, but
wow.
Then that was like 4 months later that I was finally able to access that support. And the other Aussies haven't got that. They haven't got sponsorship. They haven't got any kind of gym, strength and conditioning support, physio support, soft tissue massage. I had my first soft tissue massage this year. Like, I've never had this stuff before, So wow. I think given those constraints, I think they're going to rep so hard. I think they're going to be absolute fire. What the judges like and who they go up against and who, it really depends. But, we could have another Australian B-boy and Australian B-girl representing in Paris. But they need your support.
Well, I was going to ask a question like, how can we help? But because I'll get to that. But so there's 16 B-boys and 16 B-girls correct in Paris. So obviously... I think 7 extra will be included in those series, if I'm not mistaken, to kind of add to who's already qualified. So it's obviously like a smallish field, but it's still obviously very competitive to get into that smallish field.
Totally. I can't remember if it's 8 or 10 that are going from the OQS, but there's 40 in total at the OQS. So,
right. Wow.
There's a chance, but also it's tough competition because you're really looking at the best from around the world. But it's going to be an amazing experience for the Australians to represent and to battle those internationals and to get that experience and to learn from that event. And they're just going to take that back to Australia. We're going to come back even stronger, regardless of what happens.
We'll keep an eye on that. And how can we help, Rachel? Is there anything that people listening can do to help anybody in the breaking community?
Yeah, look, I think, follow them on Instagram is a good start. Attend, if there's a breaking event, attend the breaking event as well. There's always breaking events in different parts of the country. Oz Breaking is your first point of call for all things Australian breaking. But if you're a small business or if you're a big business, please do reach out and offer to give some support to these dancers, because for many of them, they haven't had as many opportunities to compete and represent overseas. This is a huge cost for them as well, but they really want to do their best. So if there's any kind of financial support that you could offer, or in-kind physio or things like that, yeah, please just do reach out to Oz Breaking, because they're probably best placed to be able to coordinate things. It's
fascinating when you say that you had that soft tissue, like as an Olympian, that you only got that this year. Like it's just kind of like that just doesn't compute to me somewhere, Rachel, that that happened then.
No, yeah, I know that the massage therapist didn't know what to do. He was looking at my file and it was blank. He was like, I've never seen this before.
Wow, crazy.
He was giving the massage and he was like, yeah, I really think you'd benefit from this more, actually.
Is that when you try and get that masseuse to basically come on board to Oz Breaking? Like, you've got an industry here. You can crack into this world.
Yeah, because people they can't afford physio. They can't afford regular support. Definitely not soft tissue massage and things like that. And these are really important for longevity, for injury prevention, and for performance. So, with Oz Breaking only kind of setting up in 2020, we don't have these sorts of established support structures in place. So it is very much an individual kind of journey at the moment in terms of what you can access with training or what you can coordinate. So
fascinating.
It's very different.
It's so interesting to kind of learn these things, that it's, it's an Olympic sport. It's brand new, but then obviously you've got all these other bits you've got to get through, and just, it's never that simple, is it?
It's not. And yeah, look, I mean, it's an amazing opportunity to be at the Olympics, but, I think sometimes perhaps there was a bit of a brainwave. Let's have all these new sports, and maybe a little bit more of investment in terms of helping these sports get set up couldn't have gone astray. But, we're here now, and it's such an awesome opportunity.
I mean, you'll get a free phone. So, I mean,
you get a free phone.
You'll get a Samsung phone in the village. I think all Olympians get a phone when they arrive. So, I mean,
okay. All right.
Do you need a new phone? You're getting one. So
yeah, right.
You're welcome to that knowledge.
Thank you. I wasn't aware of that.
You get a brand new wardrobe and a new phone.
I would have gone that much harder.
Exactly. All the other people who didn't quite make it go, shit, I need a new phone. I should have tried to win those. God damn it. They just a little bit closer. Before I get to the get to know you style questions, I need to introduce you as well to our new show mascot, which we've introduced since we last had on the show. This is Cherry. He's a chair, if you didn't understand that.
I was trying to decipher what I was looking at. That's brilliant.
We will sometimes ask, can you guess what he is? But when I say the name Cherry, often it gives it away. But he's a bit injured. He's got a bit of a bung leg, and a bit of, a Band-Aid here. But Jeff was very inspired because he felt that he could do a few kind of moves going on with that. How inspirational can you use Cherry for Paris, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all those limbs, we could do some interesting threads.
Yep.
We could do some
I feel like
it's already got the gears turning.
Exactly. Well, we're trying to get like mini cherries or pins or something that we can get to our guests ahead of Paris to put in the back pocket as a bit of inspiration. So
well, let me know. Keep me updated with that, please.
You're welcome. I know in the first interview we said meatloaf would be your inspiration, but Cherry as well.
I think Cherry's pretty strong at the moment. He's pretty inspiring.
He took the words right out of your mouth. Any time to get a meatloaf reference in. I'm ashamed that we didn't do this the first time we had you on the show, Rachel. Basically, this is a get to know yourself questionnaire which Team Canada gave their athletes ahead of the Rio and Pyeongchang Olympics. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a bit of fun. There is, if you want to, a drawing element. If you feel the need, you can draw a picture of yourself. You can draw a picture of one of your teammates. And you can draw a picture. This one's new. If you were an animal, what would you be? Draw and explain. I've never seen that before. How are your drawing skills? Are you into drawing?
I'm a terrible drawer.
Beautiful. That's what we like.
Yeah.
If you want to showcase those skills, feel free to do something and send it in. We will never say no, but you don't have to. It's fine. You've got an Olympics to prepare for. You've got other things to do. I'll start off with the first question for you today, Rachel. Your favourite Olympic moment is?
Kathy Freeman, Sydney Olympics.
Easy.
Sprint. Easy.
Didn't even hesitate. Get on with it, Ben. Come on, give me something harder. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, to move things. Because sometimes I'm very lazy. I'm like,
that, like the Force. Like, just move it. I don't think we've ever had anybody answer that before. I like that. Wow. I know. It's always like teleportation and being invisible and I can fly, but I like that. We've all just sat on a couch and just gone, oh, come on, get here.
Bring it to me.
I know. And I will say for people, if you're listening to the audio, and not only can you watch the video to see Rachel's cat, she's literally gotten like a couch. This is like Oprah style. Like it's very chilled and relaxed. I feel like this is moving forward. All our guests need to be on a couch. All right?
It's my vibe.
The Ray Gun couch, we'll call it moving forward. Your favorite sports movie is?
I'm just laughing at what just came to mind.
Say it. Now you got to say it.
Bring it on.
Hey, yes. we somebody actually recently answered She's the Man, which I'm like, well, that's a sports movie. Nice. So bring it. Yeah, absolutely.
Bring it on. Yeah.
Good movie. I like that. Your funniest childhood memory is?
Oh, funniest childhood memory. How to find the funniest childhood memory without unnecessarily embarrassing myself too much. I don't know if that's possible.
The more embarrassing, the better.
So.
Come on.
I'm like, can I think of another one?
Who do we need to contact to get the real embarrassing childhood memory on?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Look, I can only think of this one thing because, when it comes to your mind and you just can't let it out. And it's when I decided to dress up in a lion suit and dance to the whole Lion King soundtrack.
Why not?
For my parents, I made them sit down and watch the whole thing, which they actually videoed, and you can hear them laughing behind the video. Aww. And every new track, they're like, "Oh, she's got another one. She's going. She's still going."
You just reminded them of that, and somehow Channel 9's going to get a copy of that, so that when you win that gold medal in Paris, they're going to be like, "Well, funny enough, look what we've got to show the world." So
I was a bit of an odd child, so
I like it. Hey, well, I mean, wear the lion suit in Paris. I don't know if the AOC will let you, but
I should have a little line reference, shouldn't I? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. We're so inspiring on Off the Podium. All right, like it happens. You get ideas, you get a gold medal. It's that's simple. This is an interesting one for a breaker because I know we've talked about the music and how that kind of works, but your favorite pump up song is? Is there like a song you can play before you get out on the mat that really gets you in the mood?
Yeah, there's a few actually there's a few kind of hype tracks that I like to listen to before a battle. At the moment, the Never Freestyle by Coast Contra is like, love that. Love listening to that. The Goodness by Redman and Busta Rhymes. So there's a few kind of tracks that I'm like, yeah.
I like it. No, can't wait to be king from the Lion King or, Hakuna Matata.
Circle of Life.
Can you feel the love tonight?
Oh, such a dog.
I know, right? Wait, get it out there. The most recent TV show that you binge watched is?
The Gentleman
The
on
Gent-
Netflix.
Oh yes. How'd
That
you
was really good.
you found it good?
Yeah, I like Guy Ritchie's stuff.
It's kind of interesting with Guy Ritchie, isn't it? Because he kind of had like this, spur of great movies. Then he
Yeah.
married Madonna,
Yeah.
and then kind of he divorced Madonna, and now he's back into kind of this thing. So I love Madonna. I'm not trying to shit on Madonna, but like it just kind of was this weird like black hole with Guy Ritchie that was before and after Madonna, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I loved his movies pre-Madonna.
I see what you did there.
But The Gentleman was great. Yeah. So
Okay.
and I'm a TV binge watcher. Like that's my way to wind down. I'm like, right, what series we gonna do? Love binging and just relaxing that way.
We all have that comfort show, Rachel, that it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, you can just never get sick. What's your show like that you always go to?
I don't know. No, I don't know if I have one. I've just watched too many.
Because I know like Friends, for example, like that's a show that, I mean, I'm one of those people. I can watch Friends 1,000 times and I still get the same joy out of it every time. It doesn't matter how many times I watch it.
Oh, I don't know. There's too many great ones to think of. Like, I started rewatching Seinfeld again.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Hilarious, but also some of the jokes have not aged well.
You find a lot of these things, don't you? And all of a sudden you watch these shows, you're like, oh, okay.
Parks and Rec, great. 30 Rock, great.
Yep.
There's a few, but then also like the more kind of serious ones like Vikings or yeah.
Too many to
I
watch.
rewatched the whole Game of Thrones series before the final season again. So
Right, just skip the
I don't know
final
if
season.
I could watch that again and again though.
I'm one of those very rare people who've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones. So
Wow, it's nice to have met you. You're like a unicorn.
yes, exactly. I know, right? I just go off into the mist, basically. As a kid, your favorite sports team was?
Oh, I don't know because I was such a weird kid. I was like into dancing and netball.
And the Lion King.
I was in a rugby family and
Who was the team that the family, like, were you forced to pay attention to a team?
yeah, look, I remember watching the Rugby World Cup and things like that. So I don't know. I would watch the big stuff,
Okay.
the state or the national stuff. So
That's what's
sorry, I'm an imposter in the sports world.
But the Lion King world is fine. That's just I'm not letting that answer go. It's brilliant. I really want to see this footage.
Yeah, good.
If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's for the rest of my life because there's a few things that come to mind.
Give yourself a smorgasbord then, because you might get sick
Okay.
of just one food for the rest of your life.
I love a cheese plate. Love a cheese plate.
Good place to be at the Olympics then.
I know. Again, after the event.
Closing ceremony day. Yes, that's right.
I'm a big fruit girl. Love my fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love eggs. Eggs on toast.
Yep.
I could probably do that for most days of the week, to be
So
honest.
scrambled, poached, fried.
Scrambled. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I like it. And you get away with eggs in the training. Eggs have got protein,
I
right?
know. I love it. The eggs and fruit, I'm good.
Yeah. Everyone needs cheese. I'm sure you can find an excuse to have cheese in there somewhere. Your favourite place to compete is?
Favorite place to compete? Like a city? Or a venue?
We'll go with city. I mean, if you want a specific venue, by all means, let us know. Like Sydney Town Hall. I qualified for the Olympics. I
mean, look, I guess there's nothing like competing in your home town. Like, I love competing in Sydney. You've got, all the whole scene there. You've got your family, your friends there. There's nothing quite like that. But also, it is really nice competing overseas. I was in Madrid last year, and that was beautiful, and that was an awesome experience. So it'd be cool to go back and compete there. I'm going to compete in Porto later this year as well. And of course, Paris. So there's a few that I'm looking forward to. But yeah.
Do you get it? Is there a test event in Paris at all? Will you get a chance to kind of see where you are competing ahead of the Olympics?
No. Really? No.
Pretty fancy area though, that whole sort of street complex though, right?
I know. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to be really cool. But
hot ticket too. I think it sold out very, very quickly once the tickets came out too.
Every time more tickets were released, it was sold out super quickly. Super quickly.
It's going to be a great atmosphere. Bodes well, I can imagine. If you had to do karaoke, Rachel, what song would you sing? Please say The Lion King.
I'm really bad at karaoke. I'm more of a lip syncer because I like dancing. I like dancing along to it.
It's that lip sync show that they had for a while. That you always see like celebrities in America that they do, like Daniel Radcliffe is like lip syncing to Cher or something like that. Like you could go on that show.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Look it up. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I think like The Rock might have hosted it or Kevin Hart or maybe both of them. It was, you randomly see it pop up on like an Instagram reel. He's, Tom Holland dressed up as like Christine Aguilera or something like it's amazing. They lip sync to like famous songs. It's really clever.
Amazing. That sounds fun. I would do that. But probably something like Wild Like Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics or something. Like,
good song. Yeah. Didn't say Meatloaf, but hey, Eurythmics, that's perfect. The last one I'll ask you here, Rachel, if you could be an Olympian in any sport other than your own, which sport would you choose?
Probably the rhythmic gymnastics.
Yes.
They are amazing.
More people need to answer rhythmic gymnastics. We're a bit of a fandom of rhythmic gymnastics on this show. Anything that can involve a ball and a ribbon and a hoop. What's not to like, right?
It amazes me. It totally amazes me. I love watching it. I think it's so impressive, and particularly because I don't have great catching skills. So my dancing doesn't involve any catching, which is important. So that's
what you will be catching people's hearts when people watch you in Paris in a couple of months' time, because you will be there. And Rachel, it is such a pleasure to have you back on the show, and we will say good luck for Paris. We're so excited to see how you and Jeff and all the breakers go in the Olympic Games, and we will definitely get you back on afterwards to answer all the questions you couldn't answer in this interview, and with a nice gold medal around your neck.
Yes. Sounds good. That sounds like a plan. Yeah, let's do it.